Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 48. This is December 2013 of 2014. April Fools!
You're a little late.
Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 248. This is a weekly podcast post up every Monday in which we talk about video games or related topics. I am your host, Stafa, for those of you that are new to the show and are listening for the first time in your life, and you're like, who is this man's voice? Oh, it is Stafa. How you doing? And I have different guest hosts with me each week. This week I have my buddy Adam.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Amazing. So, this week's okay. First of all, I'll mention we go up on Monday on outofcontinues.com as an MP3, and then we go up before that on youtube.com/outofcontinues as a video, where you can see me pointing my head a little bit towards my left because my nose points to the right, so I want to even it out. You can also see my buddy Adam as well.
Sorry for the glare.
Shining his head. And so this week's episode segments will include our main topic, which will be 10. Well, we're gonna mention off 10 of our favorite Super Nintendo games. We threw these lists together within like 5 minutes, so these aren't like, there's no science behind these lists. We just threw together 10 games that we think are awesome.
No science.
Yes, no science. After that, we got a quick announcement, and then we got some news. So before that, just want to do a quick disclaimer that all opinions expressed on this show are of our own and it is not representative of any of our employers, whether it's past, present, or future. So everything Stafa says represents Stafa and Stafa only.
Yep.
So anyways, let's get into our main topic, which is our favorite Super Nintendo games. Because for those of you who are of the generation of young, you might not know what a Super Nintendo is. You might think it's like a superhero who represents Nintendo or something like that. Maybe it's like Nintendo's equivalent of Superman. No, the Super Nintendo, or in the other countries they call it the Super Famicom, the family computer. It is a console. Ooh. Yeah. So, and there was lots of awesome games. So rather than like trying to restrict ourselves to like top 5, we decided let's go with 10, because it's even the top 10 list is going to be too easy to compile together. I mean, like I said, we took like a few minutes just to throw these games together in our own list. And I have 10 games. Adam has 10 games. There might be some crossover between our lists. I'll guess right now and say at least half our list probably crossover. No. I'll say 1/3. Yeah, 1/3. So let's get going. Adam, would you like to go first?
Sure, I will go first.
And just to mention real quick, the orders of our list might not have any relevance at all.
Right.
So, anyways, Adam.
First game on my list is, people that have heard me before know that I'm a wrestling fan.
Mm-hmm.
First game on my list is WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever got a chance to play it or if you ever did.
That was the one that was kind of like Mortal Kombat, right?
I wouldn't quite call it like Mortal Kombat. It was over the top, even for wrestling games. I mean, if you were the Undertaker, you could do moves where you like hit people with tombstones and you threw ghosts at people and you slid across the ring.
And you can do like these super uppercuts.
Yeah, I mean it's just
And I
just
think it was also made by Midway, which
yes.
like also gave that like Mortal Kombat-ish feel to it.
It might have been. I can't remember who made it. I just remember really, really, really liking the game. I mean, on everything that I played it on, arcade.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really fun game. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool game too, and I wasn't even into wrestling, and I didn't even know what I was doing with that game either. I was just mashing buttons until cool things happened.
Right. But who made that?
I remember like Bam Bam Bigelow, like if you jumped off if you did it for like a frog splash off the turnbuckle, he'd like turn into lava and like splash into the mat or something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was ridiculous. But I like ridiculous stuff sometimes.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on.
Yep.
All right, so my list. I mean, it's not like in chronological order from like, least favorite to most favorite, but it is kind of like I kind of grouped them up like the first few games I'm gonna mention are not as favored as the last games. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not like exact order from 10 to 1, but it's gonna be in sort of that order.
Right.
So Super Mario RPG. I have this really low on my list because I really like this game, but I never beat it. So because I never got around to beating it, I put it lower on my list. And Super Mario RPG is an awesome game. It was a collaboration between Nintendo and SquareSoft at the time before they were Square Enix, and also like this came out like around the time of Super Mario 64. So it was very late in the the life cycle of the Super Nintendo. And when I was a kid, I didn't even know what RPG meant. So I don't know. I thought this was maybe gonna be like the Super Nintendo equivalent of Super Mario 64 because it looked 3D to me. You
Right.
know, I mean, it didn't look as good as Mario 64, obviously, and it wasn't actually 3D rendered, but still, it had like that 3D look going with it. But either way, I mean, regardless of that, it was actually a very well put together RPG. Like builds on the world of Mario, and like they add more characters that are within the Mario style, but they're not exactly from like Nintendo's Mario world
Right.
universe. So like they added their own extra characters that were also really cool, like Mallow and Gino, and like they never showed up again in any other Mario game, but they're still really cool characters. And I think this was like the first time that Bowser wasn't portrayed as the complete bad guy.
Hmm.
Like he's always been like the main big bad, but in this game, Bowser was only the bad guy for like the first you know introduction level of the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that he ends up joining you, and that's like I think that was like the first time that Bowser like was shown to have a lighter side, and he had like some comedic parts as well.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it was definitely a really cool game. It had tons of Easter eggs all over the place, and yeah, had a decent um, combat system for a JRPG where it had some timing that had to do with like if you press the button at the right time, your attack did more damage.
You did like a
And
crit.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I would like to maybe re-explore this game sometime if I have time, which will probably never. So I'll
Right.
never re-explore this game, even though I want to. So Adam, go ahead.
So next game on my list, I'm almost positive people are gonna get look at me or think I'm dumb, but I don't care. My brother was real big into basketball at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked up to him because he was my older brother.
Uh-huh.
And while this isn't exactly a basketball game, it has to do with a basketball player. The Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City game. I loved playing that game back in the day. I don't even know why.
I was waiting to hear whether you were gonna say that or Shaq Fu, because when you said it was based off of a basketball player, I was like, okay, which one is it?
I never really got into Shaq Fu at that point in my life.
Uh-huh.
But I loved the game. I don't know why. I think it was because, oh, my older brother likes it. I'm going to like it.
Well, also, like, Michael Jordan, like, back in the 90s, he was a cultural icon.
I think that might be putting it mildly.
Yeah, like, Michael Jordan was huge in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, he was the man.
I mean, he had a Looney Tunes movie. Come on now.
Yeah.
How many people have been in the movie with Looney Tunes?
Right. I mean, it just looking back, because I'm sitting there going through the list, I'm like, why did I like that game so much? But I remember having so much fun playing it, and I can't really put my finger on why.
I remember playing it once, and I was like, this game is stupid.
Thanks, Stapa. Thanks for hurting my feelings.
I remember there was like just random basketball goals within the levels, and you like, I don't know what you do with them. Like you dunk for points or something. I can't remember.
I can't remember either. I remember really liking the game, and I'm like, yeah, Michael Jordan, he's the man.
I remember playing it at a friend's place, and I was like, this is dumb. Let's go back to playing the Power Rangers fighting game.
I still have it, by the way.
The Michael Jordan,
yes.
Chaos in the Windy City.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's amazing.
But yeah, that's
only '90s kids will understand Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City.
Right. Oh,
I should make a meme image of that. Just take the box cover of that game. Only '90s kids will appreciate this.
Right. I mean, but yeah, that I don't know, but yeah, I remember loving that game.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on.
Yep, move on.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat 2 on my list. Like I've probably mentioned on this podcast before that like the earlier Mortal Kombat games, as an adult, I grew out of them and realized that they aren't very good like gameplay mechanics wise. It wasn't until like the Mortal Kombat reboot, Mortal Kombat 9, that happened that I really started really liking Mortal Kombat again. Well, this is more of a nostalgia thing. Like I liked Mortal Kombat back then because it was the cool thing to like. It was bloody, the graphics looked realistic. When I first saw the graphics of that game, I'm like, wow, games are never gonna get better looking than this. This is almost like real life. I mean, I've had that moment lots of times though. It's like when I saw Vector Man for the first time, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Yeah, I see you cringing over there when I said Vector Man's amazing.
I didn't even like Vector Man when it was new.
You didn't like the graphics?
I thought it looked neat, but I don't know. I remember playing it and it was like, this is...
I remember playing, I was blown away by how it looked, but we're talking about Super Nintendo right now. So Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Mortal Kombat was the bomb. I mean, like everybody in the schoolyard had their rumors about different codes that did different things that didn't even exist.
Right.
Like I remember somebody saying like you could get Johnny Cage to like take his clothes off and just have sex with the girls or something like that, and I believed it at the time.
Of course you did.
You know, I was like, whoa. But yeah, it's Mortal Kombat 2. I mean, like I played a lot of that. I remember, you know, one against my brothers, one against the neighborhood kids. You know, just played so much Mortal Kombat 2, and that game is just so dumb. Like it's so easy to spam the same move over and over and over in that game. Like you find your character that has the easy move to do, and you just spam the move, and there was like no technique or skill behind it other than just like repeating the same move over and
Button
over.
mash.
It was like, I mean, like for example, Melina's like teleport fly kick, the one
Yeah.
where she like goes through the floor and then comes out from the top and kicks you in the head. Like it's like
Yeah.
I'm going to just spam that over and over and over, and it's like so dumb. But either way, it's on my list because I played so much of it and it was a part of my childhood. So, Adam, what do you got next?
The next one on my list, I remember playing it when I was younger, but I actually really got into it because of you.
Mm-hmm.
Tetris Attack.
Man, we're doubling up because that's exactly the next game on my list.
I mean, one of my mom's sister, my aunt, she had it. I was probably 8 or 9. I was playing it over there, and I really didn't appreciate it at the time because I didn't like my cousins. They were stupid. The D's. You know what I'm talking about? Can you really?
Your cousin. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But you know, actually playing with somebody that you actually like, that game, man. I want to say there's a game exactly like it coming out on, or that looks exactly like it on Steam. It's in early access. But yeah, that game, man.
Tetris Attack was so good, and the thing is, like what Nintendo did was really smart with that game because it was a fun game, but it had nothing to do with Tetris. Like game mechanics wise, it was completely different from Tetris.
Right.
And so because like, you know, I mean they could have named it whatever, like, you know, Super Mega Puzzle Man, whatever, you know.
That's a good name.
And no one would have bought it because of the fact that, like, you know, it has nothing to do with anything and it just looks so weird. But the fact that they put the Tetris name on it, right. And on top of that, they connected it with Yoshi's Island. They you know, they put all the characters in there,
right?
And they gave it that Yoshi's Island theme to it. You know, that gave it some more exposure than it would have got otherwise. I mean, I don't think it became like such, you know, like a, you know, extremely popular.
Right.
You know, definitely wasn't a cultural phenomenon like what Tetris was. But, I mean, I know I checked it out only because of the fact that, you know, it has the name Tetris on it and it had like the Yoshi's Island theme. And that's the only reason why I even checked it out. You know, otherwise I probably wouldn't have given the game a try.
Oh,
yeah, but it was a fun game, especially 2 players, competitive.
If you're playing with somebody that you actually like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was also the next game on my list, so you can move on.
Oh, so I gotta go again?
Yeah, go ahead. Go again.
I see how it is. I see how it is.
Oh, we teamed up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next game on my list is NBA Jam.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I was into basketball because my brother was into basketball.
Uh-huh.
And then, like I said earlier, with me liking ridiculous stuff, NBA Jam fits right in there with that.
Hmm.
I mean, I think we had an NBA Jam on both SNES and on Genesis, but I really liked those old parody games, I guess. I mean, because it's not a basketball game. It is a basketball game, but it's not. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
like it has like especially Tournament Edition had
Yeah.
like such a level of ridiculousness. Like you can play as Will Smith in
Right.
Tournament Edition. You can play as the Clintons. You
Right.
know, like there was just so many characters. I know in the arcade version of NBA Jam, there was a team that was Scorpion Sub Zero.
Yeah. I mean, I just really like those, the NBA jams. What was it? Was it Hang Time was the one after NBA Jam?
Yes,
It's
yeah.
when it started to go down. And then I think it was like Showtime, and it just became trash.
Hmm.
I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I mean those, especially Tournament Edition, just awesome games.
I remember NBA Jam being a game that I wanted to like just because like basketball was just like a big '90s thing,
Yeah.
and basketball was huge in the '90s, mainly because of Michael Jordan.
Well, I mean, it
And
wasn't just Jordan. I mean, everybody. There were so many different stars at that time.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, Jordan was obviously the biggest one, but you had Ewing, you had Bird, you had,
Shaq.
you had Shaq. I mean, there were so many stars back then.
Hmm.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like a huge cultural thing back in the '90s. I really wanted to like it, especially just like how goofy and crazy it was. But I just never got good at it. That was my thing. That I just didn't get good at it, and I wanted to be good at it. But this was before like we had access to the internet to like get guides to be like, hey, here's some tips on how to become better.
Right.
It was you had to like get your Game Pro. You had to find if you didn't get the right issue, then too bad, so sad. You missed out on those tips to get
Right.
to get good.
Awesome.
But yeah. Moving on.
Yep.
All right, next on my list I have Kirby Superstar. I really like this game. I didn't play it too much in the '90s when Super Nintendo was the thing to
Wow.
play. But I played this more when in the 2000s when modding your Xbox was the thing to do. So I played Kirby Superstar, which is I think it was the latest Kirby game on the Super Nintendo, and it was a really fun cooperative game. Like player two can just jump in and jump out at any point.
That's cool.
Yeah, like all you had to do was swallow somebody up, swallow up an enemy, and then like uh you poop them out as a friend instead of instead of stealing their power, and then like player two just presses start and can just join in. And it was just a really fun cooperative game. And on top of that, like it felt like it was a good value of a game because it had like multiple games in one. Like it basically had multiple campaigns that had their own little like cover art and everything, and each campaign like had its own title as if it was like a movie title or its own game itself. But in reality, each one was just a very short game. So it wasn't like you're getting 5 games in one cartridge like Super Mario All Stars, but it gave the illusion of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was really fun, and especially with co-op, it was just a fun game to play. I like Kirby. So moving on.
Next game on my list is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Turtles in Time.
That's a game.
I mean, those old school side-scrolling beat 'em up games. I mean, just and with it being the Turtles, like again, Turtles were the thing back then. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they were childhood memories.
You over here getting lost in your past.
I mean, those games were awesome, though, man. Or that one in particular was awesome.
Hmm.
But I mean, you know, the co-op playing, you know, with your brother or your friend or by yourself, even, you know, whatever. But just those games, looking back, it's like even still. I mean, I would say that those games probably hold up. I mean, it's been forever since I played it. I still have it, by the way.
Hmm.
But I mean, you got anything to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, like the Super Nintendo version had a lot of differences from the arcade version that people can argue were actually better than the arcade version. Like for example, one difference was the end boss at the very end of the game. In the arcade version, you just fought Shredder and he had like a lightsaber. In the Super Nintendo version, like he starts floating and he powers up and then he turns into Super Shredder.
He
You know,
turns
like
into Kevin Nash.
yeah, he
Oh,
turns into
that's
Super Shredder.
sweet.
Yeah, he turns into Super Shredder from the second movie.
Secret of the Ooze.
So yeah, Secret of the Ooze. So like, Super Shredder is just cooler than regular Shredder with a
Regular
lightsaber.
Shredder with a lightsaber.
Yeah, so I mean that's one difference. Another difference was there was Mode 7, which was this like basically it's a technology that was used in Super Nintendo to scale sprites so that sprites can be rotated and scaled, and that wasn't done on the Genesis because it didn't have that technology. So like it was used for like for example near the beginning when you're fighting Shredder, who's like kind of like in over the shoulder view. He's the camera's behind Shredder's head as I can't remember, he's like manning a turret or something.
Yeah.
Um, and basically the way how you defeat him is by throwing the
The
foot
fan.
soldiers into him. Yeah, that you throw them into him, and
Yeah.
that was how you did it in the Super Nintendo version because it was able to scale the sprites. They
Right.
got bigger as you threw them towards them. I can't remember what it was in the arcade version of that game, the game, like how that boss battle was done, but it was cooler in the Super Nintendo version. Also, the the future level where you're on like the hoverboards.
Mm-hmm.
In the arcade version, it was side scrolling, and in the Super Nintendo version, it was moving forward, like into the background.
Right.
It basically looked like um, F-Zero,
Yeah.
with like the track coming towards you.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of differences between the arcade version and the Super Nintendo version, and some of those differences were better on the Super Nintendo just because it was able to do a lot of really cool things. I mean, like overall, the graphics look better on the arcade version because the sprites are more higher definition. They're not
Right.
HD, but they're bigger sprites, more detailed sprites,
Better
more
quality.
colorful. Yeah, better quality. But like just the stuff that you can do in the Super Nintendo version was just really cool. And yeah, I mean, overall, it was just a really cool game, and a lot of people kind of expected um, the third Ninja Turtles movie to be based off of that,
No,
and it wasn't.
no, it
So
wasn't.
yeah, it was no bueno. But
No.
it was the game itself was actually really cool. So yeah. Moving on.
Yep.
Okay, so the next game on my list, Super Mario World. This was one of the best platformers. It still holds up today. It is an amazing game. I know a lot of people will say like Super Mario Bros. 3 is the best, Super Mario Bros. Game. But you know what? Super Mario Bros. 3 was the beta for Super Mario World. Yes, I said it. It was a beta test. Super Mario World is the real deal. It it had like everything that Super Mario Bros. 3 had and then some. Well, it
Yeah.
didn't have like the boot, the what's the Kuribo shoe or whatever it is.
Something.
It didn't have that, but it had Yoshi. It had like the spinny jump where
Yeah.
you can like kind of bounce off of uh bowling balls or whatever, with that spinny jump. It had so many secrets. It had branching paths on the map. The map was awesome.
Yeah.
Just finding secret exits to a level, and then it opens up a new path to something else. That was just mind blowing. That there was just so much depth to the game, and after you beat the game, you got like the Star World, and you know there was just so much to it, and had so much replay value. It was really fun. And yeah, it still holds up today as one of the best platformers. It's just really well designed, and the mechanics are just so solid.
Yeah, that was actually the next one on my list.
Man, we doubled up again.
Yeah. Well, I
Damn.
mean, and the good thing about the way it was later on in the life cycle for the SNES is you could get the All Stars,
Uh huh.
and you can get All Stars plus Super Mario World all on
Which
one
was
cart.
which was really hard to find.
Yeah, I think I still have it.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, but I mean, we'll just talk about Super Mario World. I mean, that game. I mean, you basically said everything for it. It's just it is probably for me top 10 overall.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I just those games were all awesome. Well, 3 and Mario World were awesome. And then 64 came out, and it was, I think it beat both of those. Maybe it's
Like
close.
one thing I think that's worth mentioning is that the game, for me at least, it felt very cinematic as far as like even though it didn't have much story to it, it still felt cinematic with the story and with like the boss fights, because every time all the boss fights were really fun first and foremost, but like once you beat the boss fight, there's like a little cut scene with Mario destroying the castle or fortress in a different way.
Yeah.
Every single boss he destroys the fortress in a different way. It was just really fun seeing that. It added a lot to what little story was in the game.
Right,
And
right.
that last boss fight against Bowser really felt um, very cinematic itself, because it was a very long boss fight. You have to like memorize the patterns, and it was just really cool with him like flying towards the screen and flying around, and then like when you actually beat him, it was just really cool. Well, yeah, you have anything else you want to add with that?
No.
All right. So since that was the next on your list, I move on.
Yep.
All right. Next game on my list is Street Fighter 2. I didn't. So like I chose Street Fighter 2 over the other ones, like Super Street Fighter 2 and Street Fighter 2 Turbo, mainly because
Right.
Street Fighter 2 was the one I played the most as a kid, and
Yeah.
it felt like it was probably the most balanced, because of the fact that there's only 8 characters,
Right.
unlike the other ones where they add the bosses, and then they add with the Super Street Fighter 2 they added the new challengers who were Cammy, DJ, T-Hawk.
I was gonna say T-Hawk was in it, wasn't
Yeah, and one other person. There's 4 new challengers.
he? I can't
Somebody.
remember.
E-Honda 2. Anyways, so Street Fighter 2, I played so much of that game. I was probably the best player out of the kids in my neighborhood in that game because I played it so much. I was, like Blanca was my man back then, and they didn't know how to beat me with Blanca because of his whole cannonball charge attack
Yeah.
where he flies across the screen. It was just so good, and this was before the alpha games where they made Blanca more of a gorilla man, where he's just doing goofy things. Back in the earlier games, Blanca's in Street Fighter 2, his win quote was now you see my true power or something like that, which I was like, oh, he's so cool. He's like a demon.
He's a beast.
Yeah, exactly. Now he's more just a gorilla man, but whatever.
Yeah,
Either way.
Yeah, Street Fighter 2 is also on my list. Next.
You want me to move on? Okay, all right. Final Fantasy 3. American Final Fantasy 3, Japanese Final Fantasy 6.
Nope, wasn't on my list.
All right.
I can go next.
So this game is really good. I played this after I played Final Fantasy 7. So, this was when I started getting to emulation on PCs when I was in high school, which was a really huge thing that all my high school friends were doing back then. I was doing it. We were doing it, and so I played after I played Final Fantasy 6, which at the time I was blown away by Final Fantasy 6. Nowadays, I'm not as much of a fan because I've played other RPGs such as Final Fantasy 3, which came out before Final Fantasy 6. I mean 7 came out before Final Fantasy 7, and it's a better game. The only thing that 7 does better is graphics, and even that, I would say if you look at both of those games today, the sprite work of Final Fantasy 3 is better than the 3D work of Final Fantasy 7. Because 2D art
stands up.
Yeah,
it holds up.
Yeah, it holds up better than 3D artwork. So
especially that early 3D stuff.
Where they look like Lego people.
I wouldn't even say that. They look worse than Lego people.
But yeah, I mean, it had a huge cast of characters, just more than I knew what to do with, and I liked a majority of them.
Right.
There's only a few characters I did not care for, and so it makes it really difficult to choose your party. I mean, you can't have 4. You have 4 characters in that game rather than 3 in Final Fantasy 7, but it's still hard to pick your 4 because all those characters are really good. It had a really compelling story. It had the main character was a female lead, which a lot of people haven't started pushing for that till recently. That's the thing that people have been trying to push for recently, and Final Fantasy 3 back in the 90s had a female character as the lead, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, overall, like, it just had such an awesome story, like, great cinematics, great music. The music was so good. Um, like, for example, there is an opera scene, and the music, which was, you know, chiptunes music, it was done so well that I can, like, mentally hear the lyrics. You know, as I'm reading through the subtitles, I can hear the
Right.
lyrics through the chiptunes, even though there were no vocals.
Hmm.
You know, it was that well done. And the main bad guy was just, he was some guy. He was a guy that you hated. Like, he was a really well done bad guy. So, Final Fantasy 3, amazing JRPG. So, next.
Yep. Well, the next one on my list is it was my introduction to like side-scrolling shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember spending just a ton of time with this game. A, because it was hard, and B, just I thought it was fun. Um, Super R Type.
That game is hard.
Yeah, I mean,
All the art types are hard.
yeah, I remember really liking like having fun with it, but getting so frustrated with it.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, I spent I couldn't even tell you how much time I spent on that game. I don't think I know I never beat it, but I really enjoyed the game when it wasn't brutal.
Mm-hmm.
No, when it wasn't brutal. I mean, it was a hard game. So that's not even really true. I mean, it is like it was my first Super Meat Boy. I loved it, but I hated it.
See, I was
I mean,
I was more into Gradius back then.
I don't think I ever played Gradius
Ah.
back then, but Super R Type, I think one of my cousins had it, and I ended up with it, and I still have it.
Hard game.
Yeah, I really liked it back then. And like I said, it holds a special place in my heart because from what I remember, it was my first side-scrolling shooter. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
played, top-down shooters when you're going vertically, but not horizontally.
Mm-hmm. Moving on.
Yep.
Super Punch Out. So I played a little bit of this, you know, back in the 90s, but then I really got into this later on, like in the 2000s.
Arr.
Yeah, exactly. This Super Punch Out, you know, a lot of people will say, you know, the first Punch Out is better. I strongly disagree and say Super Punch Out was the superior game. And, like, I mean, not only graphically, I mean, the sprites looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
But I think game mechanics wise, you know, had some more depth to it. It had like the super meter rather than the stars, you know, and the regular Punch Out where you press what's it, either start or select. Probably select.
I think it's
You press,
start.
okay,
I think
you
it's
press.
start.
Okay, you press start and then you do your super punch. You know, the super meter add more depth because you can either do like, you know, a super punch or you can do like a super combo.
Yeah.
And I think the enemies were better designed. They're like every single one of them were unique. While the first game you had to fight the same guy more than once, and it would be like, oh, now he's harder, you know.
Right.
But in Super Punch Out, all of them are unique, and man, I play that so much that like memorized all their patterns and was like so good against going at them. And my roommate got angry with me because the top score, the high score chart was like nothing but my name, and like he and he was mad because he was on the high score, and now it's like nothing but my name on there, and he said like I idiot savanted my way into taking over the scoreboard. It's like whatever, man. You just play the game
He
more.
was a hater.
Yeah, it's like if you want your name to be the one that's all over the place, then play the game more. That's it. Come on now. But either way, so I mean, I just had a lot of fun with that game. I think it is one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Definitely top 3. Just had so much fun with it. Super Punch Out. Moving on.
Super Punch Out.
Super Punch Out.
Oh.
If I ever get like a Wii, I'll check out the Wii Punch Out.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe Wii might become like super cheap, and I'll just pick it up.
Well, even if you do, Wii Punch Out or whatever they call the stupid game, it'll be $90 because Nintendo never lowers their prices.
That's true. That's true. All right. Next on your list.
So I've got another kind of weird one, I would imagine, for people. Game called Pit Fighter. Did you ever play it? You ever hear about it?
I played it on that Midway arcade collection.
I don't. Again, I know it's a lame thing.
It is a stupid game.
I don't remember why I like it, but I remember really enjoying the game. I think it is just because it's a fighting game. I don't think
it wasn't really a fighting game. It's
what I mean.
It's a brawler.
Yeah.
It's basically like Def Jam Fight for New York, but Super Nintendo.
Like 10 years older.
Yeah.
12, 14, something like that.
And like when you after the round's over, you're standing on a forklift and it like lifts you up. It's so dumb.
It's so dumb. But yeah, I mean, I like dumb stuff, I guess, man. But yeah, I like looking back on it. It's like that game is dumb, but I remember at that time, back in the day, really liking that game. So, why you hating?
Like I remember there's 3 characters. There's a big muscle guy who's good at punching, and then there's a smaller guy who's good at kicking, and then there's a third guy who's just third guy.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the wiki now. Buzz is a big, strong ex-pro wrestler, so that's probably why I liked it. I was like, hey, that guy looks like a pro wrestler. I'm gonna play this game. Oh man, this game's awesome because I'm such a mark.
Pad.
I'm such a mark for pro wrestling. It's like anything that has to do with pro wrestling. Yay. But yeah, except for WCW, those games sucked.
Okay, moving on.
Yep, moving on. Off of Pit Fighter because I know it's a trash game.
All right. So this game, the best JRPG on the Super Nintendo, is Chrono Trigger. And this game was so good. It could have been called Final Fantasy VII. Because it came out after Final Fantasy 3, and it might as well have been a Final Fantasy game, but it wasn't. I mean, it didn't have like chocobos and a person named Sid and whatever, but like as far as like mechanics wise, it had its own twist, but it was still basically the same, and the story was just really good. I really liked all the characters that joined the party. There weren't a lot of characters that joined your party, but they all had a lot of depth, and they had like team up moves that they can do with each other during combat, which I think that's one reason why there wasn't that many characters compared to Final Fantasy 3, because these characters can actually do like team up moves with each other, and that'd be difficult to design if you had like a huge roster of characters. But there's also like multiple paths that multiple results that can happen while playing the game, because there's different choices. I mean, it was kind of like Fable before Fable, and it wasn't like evil and good choices and you grew horns or grew a halo. It wasn't like that, but like it was the choices were all like they had an effect on the plot.
Right.
And you can beat the game with Chrono being dead, the main character Chrono. You can beat it with him being dead, like actually, him dying in the story, and you can beat it without him. You can. There are like so many different endings in the game.
Right.
One of them including the one single line that Chrono actually speaks. So he does have one line in the entire game, and it's in one of the endings. But yeah, there's just like so many different endings. It was just so good. The graphics looked great. I mean, it was just really cool that the graphics that you see while exploring the world map, or not the world map, but the just the world, are the same sprites that they use in the combat. Because they just position whenever you walk towards an enemy, they end up just walking into position, and you just boom get into combat. Unlike Final Fantasy, like all the Final Fantasies, where you're walking around and then you get into the combat screen where all the sprites change. But it was just so good. The world was just really well done. You had like the different uh, eras of time that you travel to, and it was just really cool seeing how the world changes in each era, and it just felt like there was a lot of impact in your choices on the world itself. And like by the last boss fight, with all the story that happened, the music, everything that's going on, it really gave a sense of something dramatic is happening right now. And just overall, just a great game. One of my favorites. Definitely my favorite JRPG. And yeah, brings a tear to my eye. So yeah. Moving on.
Yep, I've got a pretty good guess what your last game on your list is.
What's the last game on your list?
Last game on my list is Super Mario Kart. I mean, that game, not even talking about it being fun. I mean, it basically created an entire genre of games.
Oh, it did. Definitely did.
I mean, and again, it would have been a lot better back when I was a kid if I had people to play the game with that I actually liked.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really care for any of my cousins. You know why.
Yep.
But looking back at it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I played with people I didn't care for on that one, but that game was still fun. I would play every now and then with my brother, which I mean, at that point in time, yeah, okay, I liked him. But I mean, the game it's fun. Like I said, it created an entire genre of games. Just meaningful to me in a way that I don't think any other game on Super Nintendo is. You know what I mean? Like I said, all the other games on Super Nintendo, yeah, okay, R-Type introduced me to a genre, but it did not create a genre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, as Mario Kart kind of, I've went away from it because I don't really own a console to play it on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got a 3DS, so I could play something on there. I'm sure there's something, a Mario Kart on there, but no big boy consoles. I mean, now, like, I think the last one that I played was the Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, it's still good. I mean, that same basic formula still works if you've got people to play with that you want to play with.
Yeah. So, like, everything you said is right, but I also feel like Super Mario Kart, was it Super Mario Kart or just Mario Kart? I think it was Super Mario Kart.
Super Mario Kart.
Yeah, Super Mario Kart. Like, I feel like out of all the games we've mentioned, or most of the games that we mentioned, it's one of the few that doesn't hold up. Like, yes, it did create its own genre, but like it's hard for me to, like, pick up Super Mario Kart and play it and have fun, because the newer Mario Karts are just so much better.
Right.
Compared to Super Mario World, which it's still fun today.
I would imagine.
So, like, it's a game that just hasn't aged well, mainly because it was like the first of its kind, and
Yeah. I mean, there's been so many times that they iterated on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
they've refined that formula a lot more since then.
Right. Well, I mean, they've also had what? When did Super Mario Kart come out? Let's find out. Yeah.
My guess is 94.
It came out in 92.
Ooh, 92.
So, I mean, that's what, 24 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, yeah, 24.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, September 1st of this year, it'll be 24 years old. So, I mean, yeah, it's they've got a lot of time in between it coming out back then and now to iterate on it. But, I mean, like I said, this isn't. I'm not looking at it to hold up my list anyway. I mean, for God's sakes, I had Pit Fighter on my list, dude.
Yeah, that didn't even hold up back then.
Pit Fighter holds up, Staffa?
No, I said well. I said most. I said most of the games hold up.
But I liked it, and like I said, it created a genre. What game on your list can say that?
Super Punch Out.
No. Okay. Can I guess? Can I guess what's on
Mortal
your list?
Kombat 2 created genre.
Can I guess what's the last game on your list?
Go ahead, guess.
Donkey Kong.
Country?
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't figure I had to throw in country.
Oh, I mean, Donkey Kong's a different game.
Is there just a regular Donkey Kong on Super Nintendo?
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a port on there.
You know what I meant.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country. Yes. My favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. It is that good. Too good.
It was actually on my list, but I switched it around so you could say it. See how nice a guy I am.
Such a pal. Yeah, I'm over here like, I'm like Twitch streaming Donkey Kong Country, and people actually watch me play that game. Unlike I'll play a new game like Overwatch and no one watches me. I'll play Donkey Kong Country and people actually watch me. That's how good of a game it is. Because people are like, oh my god, Donkey Kong. And I'm over here like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, I know all the secrets. Check this out. Whoops, I just died. That wasn't a secret. I mean, the game is just, there was like so much hype behind even releasing the game, which probably preset my hypitude for it.
Is that a word?
It is now.
Hypitude.
Yes. So I mean, like I remember it was all over every I think Kellogg's cereal box. Even before the game came out, there was like a big contest. With I think at Meyer, there's a coloring contest to like win Donkey Kong Country and a Super Nintendo. There's just so much going on before the game even came out, and the commercials were just awesome. He's back, and they show like this 3D wireframe rendering of Donkey Kong, and I'm like, oh my god, graphics are never gonna get better than this again. It was just so cool. I mean, graphically it was really good. Level design wise, it's just really fun levels. The only world that I don't like is the snow world, because I really don't like the slippery ice. It's just not fun. It just makes
a bad game mechanic.
I don't know if it's.
I don't like it in anything.
Yeah, it makes it more difficult. It's a challenge, but at the same time, like I don't find it fun. But like other than that one snow level, I think, or a snow world, I really like all the levels. I like the different animal companions that you can get. I mean, they're basically like Yoshi, but more variety. In Mario World, you only have Yoshi. In Donkey Kong Country, you have Rambi the Rhino, you have Flippy Frog the Toad, you have Goofy the Ostrich, and you have Doofus the Swordfish. All those names are canon right now. Confirmed out of continues.com. I mean, you not only have them as companions in the levels that help make the levels easier, but you also have the bonus levels where you turn into them, and it's just so much. And then like the last boss was just mind blowing. Like I flipped my noggin when I beat King K. Rool and he faints, and then like the credits start rolling, and like all the credits are the bad guy names, and then it says the end ? And it says like produced by King K. Rool or KK Rool or something like that. It's like the end ? And then the camera pans back to Donkey Kong and King K. Rool, and King K. Rool just gets back up, and I'm like, what? This is impossible. I mean, it's just so cool. It was, yes, this game is just so good. I remember hearing somewhere where Miyamoto like apologized for the game because it was too easy or something like that. No, don't apologize for one of the best Super Nintendo games ever. This game is amazing. Fun. It's awesome. Safa thumbs up.
Yeah, I liked it, but I clearly don't have the passion for the game that you do. That's why I was like, I know he really likes that game, so I'm not going to say it. I almost started off with it just to be a jerk, but I was like, no.
You're a bro. You know that. This game's awesome. It's my favorite
Oh,
Super Nintendo
really?
game.
I don't
Yes.
think anybody could notice that you really, 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 really. I'm not even going anymore. Like,
Dude, just thinking of this game puts a big smile on my face. It just makes me so happy just thinking of it.
well, I mean,
That's
look at that big old cheesy pig.
like I just love it so much. It's just, man, like my face hurts right now because my cheeks
Like,
I'm smiling so hard. Man.
if you're just listening to the podcast, you should go to the YouTube and just go to this part. I don't even know how far in are we.
We're
Like
about an hour, 5 minutes
about
in.
an hour and 5 minutes in, and just look at his big old cheesy smile.
Yep. Man, just think about this game, man. Like this is why I love video games. Like video games can change your life, and like just bring such like exciting moments that just when you like think back and reflect on them, it's like living a memory, or just reliving a memory, rather than like a movie or whatever. When you think back about a movie, it's like, yeah, that was a cool part, but like games are so much more, I mean, it's like, I mean, I'm gonna go into like very little detail, because I'm not really allowed to talk about this incident, or not incident, but So basically, at work, a kid from it's a similar to Make-A-Wish Foundation. It wasn't exactly Make-A-Wish Foundation, but similar to that. Came over to my workplace, which is a game studio, and this kid is a big fan of the game, and he got a tour of the studio, and got to see behind the scenes stuff. I think he also got to play some stuff that isn't released yet. Probably the upcoming DLC or something like that. But either way, like he got to do a lot of stuff, and we also bought him some like pizza and food and stuff like that. And we gave him a lot of swag. And on his way out, he was like, "This is the best day of my life." And seeing him and his cousin just having a blast, and his dad was like almost in tears because of how happy he was seeing his son having a blast. That this is the type of things that video games can do. This is like video games impact people in a way that no other media does. And like just thinking of Donkey Kong Country, it's just I don't know. It's like it's one of those things that just impacted my childhood. Just so much fun. But yeah, like listeners, what are some of your favorite Super Nintendo games? Send me a list, whether it's your top 10. Doesn't have to be if it's in order or not in order. Just let me know, and I'll read it on the next podcast. But let me know what's your top favorite Super Nintendo games, whether it's top 10, top 5. Heck, if you just have one favorite game that you want to mention, let us know. Podcast@advocatees.com, and I'll definitely talk about it on this on the next podcast. So send your emails, podcast@advocatees.com. Man, my face still hurts. All right, so let's start talking about some news, and we'll do that as soon as I click this screen sharing button, and there we go. All right, so let's talk about some new. Oh, you know what? Let's not talk about some news yet.
Yeah.
You know what we should talk about first? that also puts a big smile to my face, but not as big of a smile on my face.
Yep.
Well, no, it's not yup. I'll give you
No?
another guess. I'll give you another guess.
Nope.
No, it's not nope either. One more guess. Yeah, it's DreamHost. How did you know? They're a web service that offers unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface. They're also optimized to use content managers such as WordPress, which is super easy to use if you know how to use the internet and you are like mildly computer savvy. You know how to use a WordPress. Like you don't need to be. I mean, maybe you might have some problems if you're a dummy, but I know if you listen to this podcast, you're not a dummy. So, yeah, WordPress and many more features, all that just for $7.95 a month. And it gets better. If you use the promo code AVContinues to waive the setup fee, it gets you a free domain and, waives away the setup fee and all that. And also, right now, they also have a sale for .xyz domains. So if that free domain is not enough for you, you want to have another domain, you can manage all those through this one DreamHost account because you have unlimited storage. You just get more domains and then it'll separate the domains from there so you can have like different websites. So, but if you want .xyz, like it's only like $2 right now. It's like $1.98 or something like that for the first year. So, bam, I mean, like it's a .xyz, which what the heck is that? But still, you're saving money. You're saving so much money that you're losing money by not taking up these deals. Math. So anyways, don't shake your head no at me. Anyways, let's move on to the news. I just turned off my webcam. There we go. I'm back. All right, to the news. Let's talk about this news of Pokemon Go. Every week, something Pokemon Go is happening. Oh, I see that you're wearing Out of Continue shirt. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm wearing an Out of Continue shirt.
Yeah. So Pokemon Go. I'm limiting us to only one Pokemon Go story because there's always like 20 at least each week. So Pokemon Go gets banned in Iran due to security concerns. They don't really say what security concerns, but basically the Iran's High Council of Virtual Spaces, which basically they filter out the internet in Iran, so you don't have like full internet in Iran. You have like only certain websites. So basically, like I'm pretty sure like anything that's porn related is also filtered out over there. I think certain social media sites are also filtered out. I'm no expert, but either way, I'm just giving you some examples of what they might have filtered out over there. So they decide to filter out Pokemon Go on the internet, so you can't use it there. But some people have been using like proxies to get around this and play Pokemon Go anyways. Yeah. So that's interesting to know, and yeah. So, anyways, let's move on.
Yep.
Let's talk about that Rocket League's.
Yeah.
So Rocket League has a new mode coming out, Rumble, and they released a video showing off this Rumble mode. And does it have a date as to when it's coming out? Doesn't really have a date as to when this is coming out, but
September.
Oh,
it says it's September.
It's just September. Okay, so this new mode has random power-ups. And going through this list as the Boot, which kicks an opponent's car, Disruptor, which forces the opponent to drive uncontrollably, Freezer freezes the ball in place, Grappling hook pulls you towards the ball. Haymaker punches the ball. I think that's also a punching glove looking thing too. Magnetizer attracts the ball to your car. Plunger grabs the ball via plunger and cord. Power hitter hit everything hard. Spike attach the ball to your car when you bump into it. Swapper change positions on the field with your opponents. Oh, that's got to be confusing even for you.
Right.
Tornado sweeps up the ball and cars into a giant funnel cloud, and the tornado comes out of you. So this is just, it's not even Sparta. This is straight up madness. And it looks like it's definitely going to be really goofy and
Crazy.
fun. Yes. Like, it's definitely not going to be something that you're going to take seriously, with competitive play, but I think it's going to be enough to spice things up for people that, if there are people who played some Rocket League and, haven't been playing in a while, and this will probably be enough to like bring them back for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to play this. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, I just got Rocket League on PC last month, and still need to get around to playing it with you. But
Yeah, we got to play this.
yeah, this is gonna be nuts.
This will be. Speaking of nuts, what if I told you that THQ is back? Because they're not really back. They're kind of back. Just the name.
Well, I mean, they were kind of back like when Nordic started using the old THQ logo.
Mm-hmm. Well, now Nordic Games has rebranded themselves as THQ Nordic. And pretty sure there's like a little logo. Nope, no logo here. I know it's on their Facebook page. But either way, so this is not like the old THQ back. This is more like when that one company bought the name Atari and started calling themselves Atari. This is similar to that. I can't remember if it was like Info Games or something like that. Either way, like some other company bought the name Atari and then started using the name Atari. This is like a very similar situation where Nordic Games, they basically have, like a lot of the THQ licenses, like Darksiders. Do they have Red Faction?
Yeah, they have Red Faction and MX versus ATV. I don't remember what all else they got that was, worth anything.
Yeah. So I want to just clarify that this isn't old THQ. It's just Nordic rebranding themselves as THQ Nordic. Because some people seem to be confused about this, because I saw like on the Facebook page, people like, "Oh, I'm glad you guys are back. Now, pick up Company of Heroes again because it's better under you guys than what is going on with it now." It's like, well, Company of Heroes is still under the same developer.
Right.
Yeah, it's if THQ Nordic picks up Company of Heroes, it's going into completely different hands that has never touched Company of Heroes ever.
Yeah.
So just trying to clarify that, but I think Nordic rebranding themselves as THQ is probably it's probably a good move for them, because THQ is a more recognizable brand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also confusing change, because it results to, things like that one fan said, "Oh, get Company of Heroes back."
Right.
No, you're confused. This is a THQ coming back. It's a different company. So what if I told you, Adam, what if I told you you can play the next South Park game with more immersion than ever before?
I would ask, how is that, Staffa?
with Ubisoft's Noculus Rift, which is a fart-smelling device. Quote, "It was exactly as if someone had farted right in my face." End quote.
That sounds like a very enjoyable experience. No, that sounds terrible. That's dumb.
So, like, the thing about this Noculus Rift that Ubisoft is promoting, no one is for sure as to whether this is just a joke that they, that just to promote the game, or if it will actually be an item that you can purchase.
Why would you want a fart in the face?
So it also says that Ubisoft said in a news release that at Gamescom next week and at PAX West in September, you'll be able to demo the game with the Noculus Rift. So at the very least, it is an actual device that they designed.
It has been made.
Yeah, that's been made, but like as far as like something that you'll be able to buy, I don't know. Like the video that they released, they take themselves way too seriously. So I was not sure if it was like a joke that the item is now made, or just like a joke in general, just to promote the game, and there is no actual item that you can buy.
Right. So,
regardless, the video is insanity. Yes, the question you asked is the same question that everyone else has asked. Why would you want someone to fart in your face?
I mean, just no. I mean, no. That's all I'm gonna say. Because no. I mean, you've been around people. They just sitting there just ripping them one out, and you're like, oh.
Man, I've been around me, and I've done that to myself before.
Right? I was just blaming it on the dog, somebody else. I wasn't. Deflecting is what I was doing.
Well, yeah, this is insanity.
That's gooberish.
I'm over here at work, have nothing to do, so I'm looking at GameSpot news. I see this article that I just couldn't help but start laughing out loud.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell the story about when you thought you would let one go on the mesh chair.
Oh, that's a different story. I'm not going to share that. That's fine.
Break NDA.
Exactly. Yep. What happens at work stays at work. So, Adam.
What?
It's that time of year again.
Okay.
That time of year where everybody celebrates Link's birthday, but nobody cares about Samus. Wah, 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 wah. I have a little image here for the video viewers. But anyways, it's a poorly edited image because it said 25 and they put a 30 on top. It's the same thing. Same idea applies. Whether it's the 25th anniversary or 30th, everyone's celebrating Link, but no one cares about Samus. Samus is forever alone. But just in time for Samus's 30th birthday, 30th anniversary, some fans have remade Metroid 2, which was a Game Boy game. It was only on Game Boy. They remade Metroid 2, and it looks similar to Super Metroid, but a little bit better. Higher fidelity. The animations and slightly more detailed looking. And just as you would expect, it has been taken down.
Mm.
So they had it up on their website. You're able to download it, play it, but not anymore. It is now taken down due to DMCA takedown, and it is confirmed that it was actually Nintendo that sent them that DMCA to take down this fan-made game, which is exactly what you'd expect out of any fan-made project. You know, at least these guys waited for the project to be finished first,
Yeah.
and then they're like, hey, here it is. So some people did get a hold of it. Unlike some of these other fan-made projects who are like, oh, we're remaking Metal Gear Solid with the Unreal 4 engine, and then like they get a DMC, a cease and desist claim before they even finish.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there is a video of it. You can check it out. It's kind of cool looking, but there's a video right here. But I mean, other than that, like maybe you might be able to find this online somewhere if you want to check it out. Other than that, it's gonna be pretty difficult to find because it got taken down. So moving on.
Yep.
All right, so this is more of a news article for me. I mean, I know you're not into the Hearthstones.
Nope.
So Hearthstone is releasing their new solo expansion, which also includes new cards that you can play in the multiplayer. And right now, the priest class, like there's 9 different classes in the game. The priest class has been the weakest class for like the past 4 or 5 months. And, both in constructed play and also in arena play. Arena being the mode where you draft 1 out of 3 cards 30 times to build your deck. And so they Blizzard, with the new expansion, has been announcing the new cards, and one of the new cards for Priest is Purify, which is arguably the worst card in Hearthstone, period. What Purify does is it silences a friendly minion, not any minion. It is a friendly minion, silence being an ability that takes away a minion's special ability and also draws you a card. So for 2 mana, you're silencing a friendly minion, not an enemy minion, not any minion, a friendly one. And there's already a card called Silence. So let me find this real quick. Hearthstone, Silence, image. Yeah, so there's already a card called Silence that works on any minion and is 0 mana. Purify only works on your own friendly minions and it's 2 mana and draws you a card. So it's not hard to understand why this is such a bad card.
Right.
And basically, like there's such a huge outcry because Priest is a very weak class right now. It's one of my favorite classes, but unfortunately it's just really weak right now. And basically Ben Bro, the lead game designer, he released a video kind of explaining why they did this, and he also said that he basically admitted that they incorrectly gauged the fans' expectations of improving the priest class, because that's the class that needs the most improvement right now. And this card hurts arena play because in arena, cards from the newest expansion are more likely to show up in your draft. And also, this is a common card, which you get like 27 common cards or so, something like that. You get around 27 common cards that show up in your arena draft. So this has an even higher possibility of showing up. And so with such a bad card showing up in an arena draft, Ben Brode said, all right, look, when this card gets released, we're just going to disable it from arena so it won't even show up at all. So that's how bad this card is. It's so bad that they admitted it, and they straight up disabled it from Arena because of how bad a card it is. So, and there are the fanboys that are like, oh, I'm pretty sure there's a good deck you can make with this card. It's like, okay, if you make a good deck with this card, then just use Silence. It's 0 mana. And this is a card that already exists and no one uses it right now. So therefore, if there was a good deck to make, somebody would have already made it.
Right.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this real quick just because Purify is just so ridiculously bad. And hashtag make Priest great again. Let's get Trump on that.
Get out of here.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some video game movies. The best video game movie series, the Resident Evils. Are you shaking your head no?
Yep.
Why?
Keep going.
Keep going?
Yes.
Did you get a chance to watch this trailer?
No.
You have no interest at all?
I have no interest at all in basically anything Resident Evil.
I haven't seen any of them after the second one. How about you?
I want to say the third one, maybe?
So you've seen more than me. Yeah, I watched this trailer and it just looked like another one. And not only that, but this movie is called the Final Chapter. Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. They ran out of other synonyms for the end. They had Resident Evil Extinction, Resident Evil Apocalypse. they ran out of those type of synonyms for this is the last one. So now they're just calling this the Final Chapter, as if each movie was a chapter full of great story. And for the listeners, Adam is shaking his head no.
Yes, I am.
So I'll give it another 3 or 4 years before they have Resident Evil one last time.
Another one.
Yep.
The last chapter.
Yep. And they keep making these because they make them so they make so much money. It's insanity. It's like the Transformer movies. They keep on making them because even though everyone complains, people keep on watching them. And that results to them making more Transformer movies. So quit complaining and just stop watching. No one's making you watch them. I don't watch these Resident Evil movies. I don't watch these. I stopped watching Transformers after the second one. I stopped watching Resident Evil after the second one. But yeah, everyone else still watches, and that's why they keep making these movies. Quit it. Quit it.
Yep. Just stop.
Let's talk about another great movie, Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
You watched the Suicide Squad, didn't you, Adam?
Yes, I did.
Now, this article compares Suicide Squad with Captain America: Civil War, which is a movie that I watched. So, I think Captain America: Civil War is an amazing movie. That's my thoughts on it. What's your thoughts on Suicide Squad?
I was underwhelmed by Suicide Squad.
So, Suicide Squad, underwhelming. Captain America: Civil War, amazing. But, according to this article over here, Suicide Squad has outpaced Captain America in sales, within the same duration. The opening weekend up to Tuesday, they have made more money. Yeah. So you have the fanboys, the Suicide Squad defenders saying, well, Suicide Squad made more money.
That doesn't mean it's a better movie overall.
Yeah.
That just means more people went to see it.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with quality.
Yeah, fanboys are annoying. All fanboys for everything are annoying. So, whatever. They can say whatever they want, and then they can go back to their mommy's basement.
Yep. Yep. I mean, if anything, I'd say probably all previous superhero movies have probably boosted this movie up just because, like, you know, superhero movies have been getting so much better. And so it's like, hey, it's another superhero movie. Let's check it out. Also, they're also kind of exploiting Joker. You know, like he's all over the billboards, which from what I hear, he's hardly in the movie at all.
Yeah, he's not in the movie very much. Yeah, I don't want to get into it because I don't want to get all spoilery and all that. But yeah, I was underwhelmed by the movie.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I heard about the movie, which I'm going to ask you about, is that it seems like a lot of people who are watching the movie feel like the movie doesn't do a good enough job explaining why the Suicide Squad even needs to exist. Because like they not only send in, you know, like this, you know, guy with boomerangs and this girl with a baseball bat and a crocodile dude with a hoodie, but they also send in another team with like basically a SWAT team with guns.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, what's the point?
Like they didn't do a good enough job explaining why the Suicide Squad even needs to exist.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. From that perspective. Yeah. I mean, it's like, oh, well, they're super bad guys or super people now. What happens if they turn bad? Oh, we need to get this crack team of bad guys together that are locked up and do all this. And huzzah, we've got them all together. It's just, no, just no. I don't care. I know.
All right. So,
send your hate.
Podcast@advocacies.com. One last superhero thing as we wrap up the show. So did you get to see this Luke Cage trailer?
I haven't watched it yet. I was gonna watch it before we started recording, and we got talking, and then yeah. So no, I ain't watched it yet. I'll watch it when I get off of here.
This trailer is pretty good, and the thing that they do that amazes me is that Netflix took a theme from like the 70s and, you know, blaxploitation, modernized it and made it cool again. It's just amazing how they actually did it, because, you know, most, you know, modern blaxploitation movies or whatever, like they're parodies at this point. Right. You know, like what was that thing with Michael Jai White?
Oh, Blackula or something.
I don't think it's Blackula, but it was like Black Thunder or something like that.
I can't remember.
I don't know, but it was basically a parody. You know,
I know I have seen Blackula.
And like when people think blaxploitation, I think the most popular one is probably Shaft.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably the most popular one, and you know, it has that, you know, it's very specific type of music, and you know, just the music that they have in this trailer, it's similar to that, but it's also modern. And it fits, you know, the whole Harlem theme that they have. You know, like this this show takes place in Harlem. You know, it fits that. Right. You know, the music that they have, and like just, you know, watch the trailer. I think you'll probably be pleasantly surprised as to, you know, what they did with this, where it's obviously that it's inspired by blaxploitation, but also done tastefully, you know, not in an insulting manner, with not in a parody manner either, and like they made it cool. You know, I'm very excited to watch this show. You know, what's the release date? September 30th or something like that. I think it's September 30th. But either way, So, I mean, like, I really like how with all of the Defenders series on Netflix, they're going with a different theme.
Right.
With like they have like the ninjas and Daredevil. They have and some of the like mystical stuff in Daredevil as well. And Jessica Jones, they have like the film noir.
Yeah.
And Luke Cage, they have like the blaxploitation. And it's just really cool that everyone has like a very different taste.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job. So I'm very excited for Luke Cage next month. And yeah, check out that trailer.
Will do.
All right. So here I am back, bigger and better than ever.
Boom.
Bam.
So he needed all that time so he'd get the cheesy grin off his face because he was talking about Donkey Kong.
Oh man, now you're making me think of Donkey Kong again. You done goofed.
That's what I do. I'm a heel.
Consequences will never be the same. So anyways, we have no listener feedback this week, but if you want to write into the show, please write into the show. It makes the show more fun for me to read some feedback, questions, whatever. Just write into podcast@continues.com, and it'll go to me, and I'll answer. And Ali a chump. I'm just reading what's on my notes. I don't know. It just popped up on there.
Yeah, I mean, that's in the listener feedback. It doesn't say who it's from, but it says Ali a chump.
Oh, okay. It wasn't there a minute ago, but anyways. Oh, now it's gone. Okay. Wrapping up the show. Watch the Twitch stream. I've been playing some games. Twitch.tv/SayedStafa. That's SAYEDSTAFA. I also got, I haven't put up any gameplay lately. I should put more gameplay. Some more Black Shell Media games, and the next chapter of my Undertale playthrough. I should put those up, record them, and put them up on the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/continues. Adam, do you have anything you want to plug?
I got nothing.
All right. I'm getting hungry, so let's wrap this up.
If
you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, leave an iTunes review, subscribe to the Google Play Music. You can contact us by email as podcast@continues.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/continues. All those things I just said, they can be found on the website. That's www.continues.com. You can give me a tweet. I am @SayedStafa. That's @SAYEDSTAFA. Adam, do you want to be tweeted at?
Sure. My Twitter handle is @IronHeadbutt. IronHeadbutt.
Anyways, I'd like to thank my guest host for joining me today. Adam,
thank you for having me.
Thank you for talking about your favorite Super Nintendo games. Even the dumb ones, I even appreciate those being mentioned, like Michael Jordan, Windy City, and Pit Fighter. It's still fun talking about them. And with that said, I'm your host, Stafa. Thank you for joining me. Play some Donkey Kong Country. I'll see you guys next week.